gonna put you here. So, I wanted to share the story of the Muunih, the blonde dog you saw. And because I wanted to share a few words, it's probably going to be more than a few, but about how difficult it is for the dog to accommodate to a world in our houses and flats in the city. I mean, if we live outside in the woods or like where there's a wide open space, there's no cars, there's a lot of other dogs, it would be easier for the dog to cope. It would be easier for the dog to accommodate and use its natural instincts. But because we often live in the city or close to the city where there's a lot of dogs, cars and everything coming towards us, and we have the dog on a leash, which is not natural to the dog. It's more natural to the dog to go without a leash. So we need to help the dog. We need to help the dog cope in this world. Understand that they can never make sense of what's going on. We have to be the ones guiding them and taking responsibility for the whole thing. And the interesting part with Muunih was that I wasn't supposed to get another dog. I was supposed to go to Denmark, because I'm from Denmark, so I had a bit of contact with a rescue organization in Denmark. So I was supposed to go there and help them bring home a dog and rehabilitate it and try to find a new home for it here in Stockholm, Sweden. And the dog I was supposed to take home, they said to me, no, you should take another one. This one is more difficult for us to rehome because she is very afraid of people. And I got curious. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see what kind of dog that is. And I went down there. I was doing a presentation and I went down there to meet her, and she was in this beautiful house at foster care. And the minute I walked into the house, I just knew that I was gonna bring her home, because I could just feel her energy and the way she was very like, when somebody moved or made a certain movement, she would be like this, you know. She was very like, her nerves was on the outside of her body. She was stressed. She was ready to run. She was not ready to attack, but she was definitely ready to run away. That was her strategy of coping with life, is that if something bad happens, I'm just gonna run. I'm not gonna think, I'm just gonna use the strategy to run. So I just came into the house and I didn't pay attention to her. I didn't look at her, I didn't pet her, I didn't call for her, I didn't make any demands on her, because I know that a dog that is not trusting a human being needs time. So I just went in and I talked to the woman who had her in foster care, and she came around, she came to me, she sniffed me, she was like, who are you, why are you here? Do you know my language? And I just ignored her. I just stood there and let her have a sniff, and I just gave her space, you know, because personally, I don't like when people go over to me and they hug me. You know, it makes me feel like, ugh, you know. If they ask me, can I hug you? I would hug them. But if they just hug me without asking me, I feel like I want to defend myself. So I know that I'm not going to go to the dog and just pet it. I need to ask the dog. Meaning, I need to ask the dog to come to me. I can't just go over, like my kids, I don't just go over and I hug them and you know, because that's not respectful. We all have personal space. We have our integrity. We want people to respect us. So that's why I didn't impose myself on her. And the woman was like, she's not like this normally, you know. She's been biting my husband and snapping at him, and I was like, yeah, but she's not a bad dog. She's a dog under pressure. And when you try, you know, to do something, like to control her or give her a treat, come on, I'm gonna pet you, and then the dog is gonna say, so that's not the right way to do it. you can't rush the healing process of a dog if you're in its face. You have to let the dog come to you when you ask for it. So not only does the dog have to come to you, but you have to have asked for it. So I wouldn't pet her if she comes to me, because I haven't asked for it. If I ask her and she comes, I will pet her. So this is a dog that was afraid of humans, I was told. And because she would do this, and she would try to, go away if someone would pet her. She had problems, she wouldn't eat, she wouldn't come when they called for her. All these things, everything is connected. There's no strange thing about this. I mean, if you know dog listening, you know emission bonding, you know the natural language of the dog, everything is connected. I could tell them, oh, she's probably doing this, she's probably doing this, and the owner or the foster person will say, yes, 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 yes. And it's not because I'm clever, it's because I understand the dog. That's what I want to teach you. You can understand your dog, so you know why it's happening. So all these symptoms is just like leading back to the same thing, that there's no trust, there's no respect. So I told her I'm going to take her to Stockholm with me. And she was very happy, because I told her what I was doing, so she was like, this is a very good chance for her. And then I told her that I was going to take the train. And she got really, are you crazy? You can't take this dog on the train. I mean, the dog is afraid of people. How can you take it into the big central station with a lot of people? What are you thinking? You can't do that. And for a minute I was like, God, I am really crazy. And yes, I know I am crazy, but I'm not that crazy. I would never put the dog in a situation that would be harmful to the dog. Never, ever. But we had to go home to Stockholm. I didn't have my car, so we had to take the train. And I know what I'm doing. I've been traveling with dogs for so many years, and I have my other dog, Mojo. She's been traveling with me, and she's a very good pillar. She would support Muunih, definitely. So I took her to the train station. I didn't let anybody look at her, pet her, talk to her. I didn't talk to her. I didn't pet her. I didn't look at her. And we went into the train. Mojo lay on the floor. Muunih got up on the seat. And we sat there for 5 hours. I didn't touch her. I didn't talk to her. I just sat there and worked. And she just lay there next to me. No panting. Looking at me. Trying to figure out, who are you? Why are you not demanding anything from me? Why am I just lying here? And just by honoring her in that way, she didn't get stressed. So first of all, it also told me something about, this is a dog she has a pretty good inner compass. She's not like easy to tilt, because being on a train with other dogs in the same room, it can be a bit stressful. But I also realized that this is a dog that is very, very true to its own language, which all dogs are, but some dogs are more open and reacts easier to it. So we went home, and I basically left her alone for a couple of days. I mean, I called for her when we had to go out, but I didn't pet her much, or I didn't really try to get in contact with her. I just left her alone. And she was observing me. She was observing me and Mojo. She was looking at Mojo. What is she doing? What is she gaining from that? How is she with this person? And this is the thing when you have two dogs. It's really good, because the other dog is going to show the new dog. But if you have a dog that's stressed already and you add another dog to the pack, it's not a good idea. So Muunih, she started to gain trust, and she started to come out of her shell, and she came when I called for her, and she got introduced to my kids, and I told them how I wanted them to be, and it was very, very clear that she wasn't afraid of people. Not afraid of people. She was just tired of people climbing into her space. She wanted respect. So when she got respect, she said, fine, I think I'm gonna stay in this family. So I didn't really have a choice, because the two dogs, they bonded like nothing else I've seen before. So suddenly I had two dogs, and it's been half a year. And she's showing me even more, I mean, because she's I don't know where she's been. She's a rescue. She traveled all the way from Portugal to Copenhagen in a big truck. Something happened to her before. She traveled to Denmark. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna treat her like she's, like, I feel sad and sorry for her, because she is a very, very capable survivor, predator. So no matter what happens, she has her rituals, she has her things, she still has this feeling if something is loud and falls on the floor, she can get scared. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm not looking at her, I'm just saying you can have your way. I have my things, you know, if I get afraid of something, I might move quickly, you know, it's a total normal reaction. I'm not saying she's a afraid dog or a sensitive dog, because that's just the way she is. We all have our personalities. So you can gain a lot from understanding the personality of your dog. So, but seeing her blossom in the pack has been beautiful. And since she has a different background, I see things in her that I don't see in Mojo, and it's beautiful because it makes me understand more about the dogs and learn more about the dogs. And I am humble, and I know there's a lot of things going on out there in the homes, and I would really say to you that don't ever try to make your dog do things. Ask it. Ask the dog. You can communicate. You don't have to control your dog. You can communicate with your dog. And when you communicate with your dog, the dog is saying, thank you. Thank you for understanding me. Thank you for honoring me. And I would go as far as saying that there's no dog I couldn't help. It all depends on the owner, however, what they're willing to do. Because I can't take a dog into my house and fix it and bring it back to you and say, well, that's it, now it's fixed. Because something happens when the dog returns to its pack. So the real job we have to do is, as the dog owner, to take that responsibility and be curious about learning a new language, the language of the dog. And forget about all the stuff we heard. Media, activate, stimulate, blah blah. No, the dog wants balance. It wants to be understood. It wants to be seen as who it is, exactly as we do as humans. All that stuff, all those plastic playthings and stuff, you can do that as well, but fix the relationship first between the dog and you. Fix the respect. When you have the respect and you have the trust, you can do anything you want with the dog. The dog is going to look at you and say, hey, I know you got this. I can trust you. Thank you. So, yeah, this was the story of Muunih, and also, yeah, a few words about why it's so important to create that respect and honor the dog. So, thank you for listening.